morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, how you doing? Just getting started. Day late and $1 short, right? Not last night, the night before, I worked a 12-hour overnight shift, and I said, come back and see me, and I'll show you what I made in 12 hours. Is a 9 to 9. It was a very smooth, calm, easygoing night. So I was really able to focus a lot on the crocheting. So let's see. I had, I showed you that I bought these little bases, these little mechanism bases. They're called walkers. They're the little fun little toys. You could put anything on them. So what I needed to do, which I did, was I wrote down a formula on a Post-it note with scratches and X's and dot to dots, and it's in our top secret language, so nobody but a crocheter will ever know my encrypted message. And I wrote down the basic shape just to cover this. From that, I can do anything that I'd want to do. I just really worked with how many to start out with to make it a perfect little circle. I worked down figuring out the increases because it is shaped like a 5-gallon bucket. So I worked out the increases, and then down here's this little ridge. But before you reach the ridge, you've got this turnkey poking out. So I had to calculate how many rows that you're working straight, where the increases are. The increases are through here. And then in the prototype, I left a space and then chained one, skipped one. And then when I came back around, I worked in it. But this is so tall and the stitches are so tight that I couldn't put this on and then flop it over. It sticks out too far. It's all created too tight. So I work in rounds to here, and then the next 2 rows, refer to the show notes. The next 3 rows are worked in rows, rounds, rows, and then when I leave my tail, I leave enough to stitch up the bottom of it. So I have it to bring it down right to the top, and then working in rounds. And then I leave an extra long tail so I could stitch those 2 together so it's closed. And then I just do very basic stitch all the way around under the first ridge, tightening it in that gap so that you can't pull the sleeve off. I could have just used I could use a dot of glue on the top, put it on, stitch it up. So since I had the formula going and I had one empty base with me, I created one. He's in bubble wrap for his protection and to keep him clean. Sometimes when I throw all my yarn in a whip bag, it starts to look, and I play with it so much, working it and taking it out and working it, that, I don't know, it looks like a used toy. How's that? How's that, guy? This is Sugars and Cream. Sugar and Cream. What color was it? Oh, this one didn't have a label. It was just a bright lime summertime green. So I worked the base starting at the top, 2 rows, 12, 24, and then working 12 down till we get to the increase. And then there's some increases that I made staggering, 2 rows of increases staggering so that you don't have any gaps in there. I did do an invisible increase. So what I love about crochet. I'm always learning something new. I did an invisible increase. So an increase is when you put 2 stitches in the one next stitch, and it just increases your number around. I was watching a tutorial, and the young lady, complicated knots, she did an invisible increase. So she grabbed the front, she came to her stitch to do the increase. She did she's doing single crochets, 1 single crochet in the front loop. The next, for the increase, the plus one, she went between both loops and did it. And it made it so that in the amigurumi, it did the 1 and then the second one was back a little, but it still added 2 when you come back around. But it didn't pull that gap of the stitch up that leaves a tiny little hole. It staggered it enough that there was a front and a back, and it kind of disguised it in the formality, the texture of the stitches. I did that with these. Why not experiment on an alien, huh? I liked it. It worked out pretty well. I don't know if I'll use it every single time because it's, you know, habit just to pop that increase in there and move along to the next part of the instructions. But yeah, I can see a really good reasoning behind it. So I made this little guy, and then I stitched him in like I was telling you. I left the gap and then did the 2 rows and then did my little final row and left a loop long enough to stitch it together. When I stitched him together, I wasn't paying attention when I was working around because I didn't have anything on him. I didn't do the eye yet. I was just doing the base. And then I put him on and I stitched him on, and then I was like, oh, should have left the cover off, added my accessories, and then came back to him. So I slip stitch and chained some antennae, multiple of these. And then I stitched the eye on. So I did a little safety eye, and I burned the back with a lighter and made everything nice and flat so it won't come off. And I stitched them on, and then I thought, you need 1 eyebrow. You got 1 eyeball? You need 1 eyebrow. So I gave him some little personality. And I got them all together, and I'm like, oh, you're so cute. I'm going to make a video and attach some alien space music to it. I'll attach that video at the end of this video. And when I wind him up, the poor little guy walks backward. He walks backward. I didn't realize it looks pretty similar from toe to heel. I don't notice a difference on. I will pay attention when I assemble the others, but it actually works. What I didn't realize is these little toys, these little walker toys, are like, you wind them up, they walk away from you. But then this is what you would be looking at when he walks away from you. It makes more sense to me in my left-handed brain that if the alien was walking away from you, why would he take his eye off of you? So I had fun making him. I did. I took my time with this one. He took, I don't know, about an hour messing around, poking around. I worked slow. I ripped it out and put it back in, and the eye was too small, and the eye was way too big, and he was all eye. Kind of cute. And then his ruffle was too tight, so I ended up putting like 3 triple crochets in the peak part just to make it ooze out a bit more. And then I worked on another base. I did some little, we got a semi theme here. It's getting pretty Pixar-ish over here, isn't it? I didn't want to do characters, licensed characters, because I feel like if you can't get them spot on, they just kind of look eh. So we stood away from that by doing this one, more of a sea anemone kind of crown top on it, still with the ruffle. So then I only had those 2 balls of cotton with me. I try to pack light, and then I don't have enough for my total imagination. And then I started working on the 3rd one. because I thought if I have 2 lights and 2 darks, then I can pair them up as alien friends and bag them together and possibly, I don't know, put them in the little free library one at a time. Or if I end up thinking about seriously considering the craft fair in November, I don't know, maybe I'd sell them individually. I don't know. I just thought I wanted a cute little set. So I made 4 of those. Oh, and I didn't assemble them because I didn't have more of the walkers with me. But I did get eyeballs going. Now that I think about it, I only made 1 eyeball per alien. Maybe some aliens have 2 or 3 eyes. I could get 2 or 3 on their eyes all the way around. The eyes were super quick to make. I just did magic circle 6 in them. 6 magic circles starting with 6 single crochets, and then an increase in every stitch. I didn't do that invisible increase when I did the eyeballs. I just did it when I was doing the... I have to train myself. We get stuck in a certain way, a certain formula, and that's just how we do it. I could put multiple eyes. There's no rules on these, but I had fun with that. That didn't take up the whole 12 hours, though. After I got going on them, I figured each one takes me about, I don't know, 30 minutes. And when I bought the little mechanism on AliExpress, they came up to, I bought 8, bought 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I bought 8 of them. Math. I think they were like 20, 25 cents a piece. And it doesn't take much cotton to decorate them. See, that's hard to guess, though, because the amount of cotton, if you use multiple colors, and it costs you multiple balls of cotton, they're all scraps. So it's really hard to calculate, because in my craft brain, I already bought the cotton, used it on a project. That dollar amount was budgeted into that first project, so the rest of it's just free, right? I figure each one costs $1, maybe a little over $1, and it takes 30 minutes to make a cute little basic something. So $1 and 30 minutes of my time. This is the hard part. When it comes to a craft fair and a booth, how much do I sell something like that for? The real question is, how much would somebody spend on something like that? I don't know. I get stuck. How much would you sell it for if you were having a craft fair? But that wasn't the full 12 hours. I also worked on a pattern test that I was accepted into on Facebook. There is a group called Crochet Test Patterns, and pattern designers throw up a little picture of their item that they want tested. They tell you what length of time. Typically, they give you the cleaned up, edited version of the pattern for free as a thank you for testing their pattern. Sometimes there's a group chat that you participate in, and sometimes they like to work solo with you in isolation, so that as you're working it, they can jot down what questions or hangups or feedback that you have. It all depends on what the designer is seeking. This designer was seeking total silence, radio silence on her project. So I can't share it with you until September 1st is the release date. Come back and visit me, September 1st. It's a set. What can I say? I can say it's a set of 2 holiday themed characters, and I was able to complete a very well written pattern, lots and lots of pictures. Everybody writes differently. Everyone's thought process in writing patterns is differently. Very step by step, row by row. If you wanted to print out the pattern, she's made some incredible features to help you check off and keep track of the rows as you go. Plenty of useful tips going through. She's an excellent pattern designer, and I can say that. I was able to complete both characters. Tips to toes complete. And I was able to do 2 of them because they come in the set. I was able to do 2 of those in the hours after I worked on the walkers. So now for her pattern test, I am working on accessories. There are bits and bobs of accessories to work on. And I anticipate doing that today. I have today off. Today is my sister's birthday. So my family is getting together for the very first time. Part of my family isn't sure, she passed away before I was born, and part of my family has never been to the cemetery. So I am meeting with family members to take them to the cemetery. Not my children. My children have known about her as much as I know about her. But my siblings aren't sure or don't know or haven't heard the full story of what happened. So I'm the eldest. I am the designated storyteller today. So we'll be meeting later this afternoon when everyone gets off work and taking flowers and box of tissue, right? We'll take a box of tissue and we'll cry and hug together, and I'll tell her story, and then they may know because it's a part of their life too. Firmly believe that sometimes your story starts before you were born because it lays out the why are people this way, or why would they say this, or why would they be overprotective about certain things. It's family lore. We need to share it. So that's this afternoon and evening. So I think sitting down and crocheting some holiday whimsy before I head out the door will help center and calm my nerves, right? Never had such a grown-up role. So that I worked on those. I took plenty of eyes and noses with me. I didn't use the note. Oh, that would be cute. Everyone that creates aliens always put, you know, extra eyes or antenna, very alienish. What if they have multiple sniffers? Like I said, there's no rules. I brought a cone of cotton. I used the white for the eyes. My bag was pretty heavy, but I didn't have a whole lot working on. Oh, when I was making my aliens, I wanted to use a small tight hook, so I used my polymer clay shed. I love this hook. I know it's Halloween. I use it all year long. It's a Clover D hook. It's sharp, digs into those stitches. It fits my hand well. Love this little hook. That's it. I won't keep you too long. I just promised that I'd come back and say hi and show you what can I crochet in a 12-hour shift. I can crochet 2 plushies, about this big, 2 basic, simple, well-written pattern, because now if I had to fight with the pattern, it would have taken up a lot of time. Can crochet 2 plushies and 1, 2, 3, 4 unique alien walkers and still get work done. So next week, I'll only have my regular 9-hour shift. Oh, that's like 3 hours less of crochet. I noticed at some point I, had to get up, take breaks, and I did notice when I got home on, let's see, so that was Monday night. When I got home on Tuesday, my legs were a little swollen from sitting in a straight back chair and working, and I didn't get up enough. You got to get up, you got to stretch, you got to get your blood flowing. You can't just sit there and crank out crochet all night long. Thank you for coming to visit me. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye.